Ghostwire Tokyo will make you appreciate the little things in life. The dopamine hit derived from petting a dog wearing an adorable little bandana, a sense of wanderlust as you breathe in the towering beauty of Tokyo, and joy from harvesting thousands of lost souls under the warm glow of a hellish blood moon. Ghostwire Tokyo feels like a throwback to a different era of action game design. It takes offbeat approach to world design, story encounters, and combat pacing that won't be for everyone, but if you can get it to click into place, you'll have a resoundingly chill time hunting ghosts through Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo has this distinctive vibe, as if its origins are rooted in the early 2000s. Like it was some undiscovered Capcom exclusive from Capcom Production Studio 4, lining up alongside the Capcom 5 in lieu of Dead Phoenix. Or perhaps a Clover Studios project that flew so far under the radar that it's only now being given a chance to earn a cult classic status. That isn't a commentary on how Ghostwire Tokyo looks on PS5, infrequently awe-inspiring with ray tracing enabled, nor a reflection of how it plays, the frame rate holds steady enough, or how it feels in your hands. There are some neat DualSense tricks that work to induce immersion. It's simply an acknowledgement that Ghostwire Tokyo feels like a throwback. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. I did, after all, spend close to 30 hours trying to round up all 240,000 lost souls spread all throughout Tokyo before triggering the endgame, depositing bundles of the spirits into phone booths that are hot-wired into the afterlife for reasons that remain unclear, but doing so did allow me to complete the rather rudimentary skill tree that governs Akito's various abilities. Or should I say KK's abilities? He's the spirit detective that's possessing Akito and granting him control over ethereal weaving. Ghostwire Tokyo is ostensibly a first-person shooter, albeit one where your fingers shoot wind, water, and fire bullets. The combat is uncomplicated and desperately in need of depth, but there is a magic to its presentation and execution that will so easily enrapture your attention. The flashes of light as Akito's fingers contort, the fizz of energy as his wrists shift between shapes beneath hammers of the DualSense triggers. It'll draw you in and let you lean back. Saving the world has never felt so undemanding. But unlike most modern shooters, the acceleration of your turning circle is full of friction, not all that dissimilar to the system employed in the Resident Evil games that Ghostwire's executive producer Shinji Mikami once presided over. There's a stickiness to precise movement that makes Akito's lightning-infused bow effectively useless, and even a lock-on feature that can't completely ease the frustration of throwing bursts of magical energy over and around hordes of pursuing enemies. They're these twisted visions that stalk Tokyo's streets, visitors from another world following a supernatural extinction event. The comboless combat, light skill advancement, and slow movement should feel limiting, but it kinda works for what Tango Gameworks has taken aim at here. Enemy encounters always encourage forward momentum. They typically spawn center screen and are unwilling or otherwise unable to push your flanks. Ghostwire Tokyo is set in an open world, but once combat commences, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was an on-rails game. Like a great light gun game that never was, or Killer 7 without all the depravity. There's a charm to it that's difficult to ignore, a uniqueness to the composition of its disparate elements, which makes Ghostwire Tokyo feel distinctly enjoyable, even as its repetition sets in. A pervasive sense of good-natured repetition isn't exclusive to the cycle of combat either. Ghostwire is set across a hauntingly beautiful, utterly empty vision of Tokyo. Tango uses a narrative hook to empty the city of all but the essentials. There are dogs to pet, cats for business transactions, enemies to fight, collectibles to hunt, and spirits to meet. Unlike other action games of this style, Ghostwire Tokyo is cast across a space that feels unburdened by the standards of open-world exploration that were set by Grand Theft Auto 3. It's freeing in a sense, stalking the streets of such a densely structured and beautifully scaled cityscape without the burden of a constant distraction. There's serenity in a silence, with long stretches of play soundtracked by little more than dogs howling at the blood moon. Areas of the city open up gradually as you cleanse Torii gates, a cycle that you'll grow to love and loathe in equal measure. But it's worth doing, not only to push the tightly written story forward, but to gain access to some surprisingly thoughtful side quests. You'll find these spirits around that need to be unburdened of past trauma so that they can break on through to the other side. And these short vignettes range from sharp indictments of Japan's workplace culture to offbeat toilet humor. It's playful, as is the way Ghostwire embraces shifting environments and color palettes when it pulls you through more linear levels for key story encounters. Ghostwire Tokyo has a really strong sense of place. You'll want to spend time in this world, even if there isn't all that much to do or see in it. Combat is kinetic, but it lacks any real sense of progression or power. Enemies are haunting, though lacking the intelligence to really challenge. Akito and KK are good company, even as their adventures against the occult wane over time. Ghostwire Tokyo feels like a throwback and is an unmistakable pull to its action and presentation. Some of you will long for more depth and variety, but others may just fall in love with the simplicity of hunting souls, convening with spirits, and slinging magic bullets beneath the beautiful blood moon of Tokyo. We give Ghostwire Tokyo 3.5 stars out of 5.